Well, welcome everybody to day 3 of AlterCOP 30 in Australia. So we're going to be focusing on biodiversity, the bioeconomy and nature-based solutions, and this evening's session, the screening of the documentary Nature. I'd like to begin tonight by just bringing up to do an acknowledgement of country. It will actually be Audrey, one of the co-founders of People for Nature, as unfortunately Arabella has not been able to make it here this evening. Audrey.
Welcome everyone. I am once again super humbled and super grateful to see so many of you in the room. I was not supposed to do the acknowledgement of country tonight. It was our wonderful friend Arabella Douglas who was going to do the acknowledgement. She lives down on the Gold Coast. She's a Bunjalung woman. I think she's probably stuck in traffic or something has happened. We will find out later. And so I will be doing the acknowledgement, but using her own words that she has shared with me. We acknowledge that AlterCOP 30 Australia takes place on the unceded lands and waters now called Australia. Country that was never ceded and still cared for by its First Nations peoples. We honour our ancestors, elders, and the living systems that guide our responsibilities to Earth. We also want to pay respect to the indigenous peoples of the Amazon, host of COP 30, taking place in Belém, Brazil, as we speak, and to all First Nations and local communities protecting rivers, oceans, forests, and skies around our planet. May our work here at AlterCOP 30 embody reciprocity, respect, and renewal, carried by the living systems that sustain us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Audrey. So, welcome. This is a great evening. My name is Beck Myers. It says I'm a filmmaker, producer, director, and writer, but that just means I have imposter syndrome. So, I'm actually thrilled to be presenting tonight. Documentaries are a little bit of my forte. I have seen tonight's screening, and I hope you are as thought-provoked as I was when I saw it. It's quite an eye-opener, but I won't give any spoilers away. So I will be hosting tonight and moderating the discussion afterwards. So AlterCOP 30 is a grassroots climate summit co-founded by the Matcha initiative and the Transmutation principle, and locally organised by People for Nature. It's a local, inclusive alternative to COP 30 that connects communities and sparks meaningful climate conversations and inspires real action on climate justice and resilience. So thank you all for coming tonight to help do that. So AlterCOP is a fully volunteered powered event, and we would like to express our deepest gratitude to the incredible team who brought this 4-day event to life here in Brisbane and across Australia, as well as all the volunteers who dedicated their time and energy to support and deliver it. So a big round of applause for all the volunteers. Now, of course, any event such as this would not have been possible without the generous support of the partners, especially Advanced Queensland for providing this amazing venue, SAP or SAP, and especially our day partner, CO2 Australia. So thank you to all of those partners. And finally, we would like to thank all our collaborators, and in particular, Alliance Française, I'm so sorry, I'm Australian, I cannot, de Brisbane, and D'Italy Art Studio. D'Italy. See, I'm still doing it wrong, for their contribution to this session. Thank you. And did you check out the beautiful photographs and everything in the foyer out there? They are just beautiful. So I'd now like to invite Pauline Fertet, the cultural coordinator of Alliance Française de Brisbane, to give a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. So tonight I'm delighted to present the screening on behalf of Alliance Française, and I'm really happy also for this partnership with People for Nature and for Alliance Française to take part in AlterCOP 30, sorry. In this way is really great. When Fanny and Audrey came to see us, to ask us for our participation somehow, we obviously couldn't say no because it really matches with our values at Alliance Française. So tonight we'll have the privilege of watching Nature, the Call for Reconciliation, directed by the renowned filmmaker Yann Arthus Bertrand. You know, that one who took the photo of the heart-shaped, like very famous place in New Caledonia. I think it's New Caledonia, I just checked it before. This powerful documentary invites us to reconnect with the natural world and reflect on our shared responsibility to protect it. Its breathtaking visuals and moving message reminds us that the health of our planet is deeply intertwined with our own well-being. So yeah, we're also honored to have François Détaille with us, an award-winning French photographer whose work captures the beauty of nature and inspires us to act. So just a couple of words about Alliance Française de Brisbane. We're committed to promoting French culture in all its form, not just language, but cinema, art, and the ideas that connect us across our cultures. Collaborating with People for Nature on this event is a wonderful example on how French creativity and environmental consciousness can come together to engage our local community here in Brisbane. And before I begin, I'd like to also share a few upcoming highlights from Alliance Française de Brisbane. Of course, we continue to offer French language classes for all levels. You can find us in West End on Montague Road. Please don't hesitate to pay us a visit. And on Thursday, 4th of December, we will be launching our monthly Cine Club at SAE University College, just by the river on Jane Street. It's a free screening. We'll be showing Les Choristes. Some of you may know this film already. And we'll also have, of course, our flagship event, which will return in March and April, the Alliance Française French Film Festival. And yeah, we'll bring more incredible French films to audiences across Brisbane. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pauline. And I have to say, I'll be there for some French lessons. So and also, I'm SAE alumni, so that's wonderful that you're screening there. Now, we're about to watch our film. I will say, please, if you need to, you are a free agent. If you need to stand up and move during this because you are a bit uncomfortable, please do so. If you need to use the bathrooms, they are just outside, down the hallway, and then to the left. There are signs along the way. Be mindful that it will be dark when the sun goes down, but the stairs will light up. We will pause for an intermission at about the 50-minute mark. So, whereas my documentaries were only 10 minutes long, so we didn't need that. So this is a long one. We have a quick pause at 50 minutes and come back to finish the remainder of the film, after which we will then have our Q&A. So please sit back and enjoy. Efforts that we can make a difference. Please take a few minutes to stand up and stretch while we ask our panel to please come forward for our Q&A. I know that the filmmaker Jan was very thrilled that his film was chosen to be screened in Australia during AlterCOP 30. And he's very thrilled that People for Nature have selected that, and they are two initiatives that he's deeply, deeply admires. So. Yeah, so if our partner panel could please come to the front, that would be wonderful. You could sit. Yes, please. Yeah. Yeah. So you're there, Ada. I actually think we should start. Yeah, because you're going to run out of time. All right, let me take my seat. Could you all please just quickly introduce yourselves if you want to share the microphone there?
Hi everyone, my name is Francois Detaille. I'm the photographer of all the photos you see in the room over there. And I have Detaille Art Studio, which is a gallery I have online as well.
Hi, I'm Erin de Brincat. I'm a co-founder of Boomerang Bags, The Gap and Surrounds, and also Repair Cafe, The Gap.
Hi, I'm Aidan Amir. I'm a QUT student studying urban planning, and I'm also the founder of Glen Harding Park Bush Care, so I do a lot of conservation and land care work.
I have this one. Am I on? Doesn't work. I'll use this one. Thank you. What Aidan is not telling you is the youngest bush carer in Brisbane. He founded this bush care group at 14, so it's pretty amazing. My name is Fanny de Busserol. I'm one of the co-founders of People for Nature and the Chief Program Officer.
I'm Darren Dew. I'm a career conservation photographer and most recently involved with community conservation on Bribie Island.
Thank you, everybody, for introducing yourselves. I didn't want to take the risk of pronouncing names wrong. So can we please start with Francois? I have a question for you. How do your images balance art and advocacy, and what messages about nature do you hope to inspire in your audience?
I think from what we've seen in the movie, I think Yann Arthus Bertrand mentioned the fact you had like this image of the very busy city at night, and he said at the same time that we completely lost connection with nature. So I think that's the number one thing with my photo, is just to bring people out of we are like quite often on the screen, watching TV, looking social media, but it's just to try to bring people back to nature, because it is beautiful. So it's really worth going in nature.
I think that was one of the amazing things of the documentary, wasn't it? That it starts out with these beautiful, majestic and magical images of nature, and then the stark reality of what we're doing to that. And your artwork is just amazing. And it's shot in Australia, the artwork that you have.
Yeah, so it's mainly Queensland and WA, yeah. And I've just done a trip to Western Australia last year. So I basically took a camper van and I drove from Perth to Broome, and I do photography with a drone. So I put the drone high up in the air, and then I look down. So it's a bit like a lot of footage you've seen on that movie where drone as well. So it's mainly looking down, and when you do that, you realize how much art is in nature. All the shapes of nature are beautiful, and what's interesting as well is a lot of shape are a reminder of our own body. So you can have like a coral, which is brain shape. You can have a heart lake, any type of nature shape you have. Yeah.
And how do you see your art raising awareness about nature and its challenges? And do you have any advice on how art-minded people can get out there and become a nature steward?
I think, via photography, because I've only started doing my own, let's say, artistic photography 5 years ago. And when you can do exhibitions. So I've done my first exhibition actually 2 years ago in 2023. Darren was nicely part of the evening as well and did a speech that night. I think that's really that. It's just connect with nature with any type of art. It could be photography, it could be painting, it could be anything, but just trying to bring people out there and be more back into the natural environment, especially in Australia, because Australia is amazing for that.
has such a vast scenery
Yeah.
and very diverse. So thank you, Francois.
Right.
So Erin, you're up. So my question for you, how do community initiatives like yours inspire action and reduced waste locally? And what advice would you give for people starting small sustainable projects?
So groups like ours, well, for example, Boomerang Bags is we repurpose unwanted textiles, and as we saw in the film, there's plenty of those available, more than the Earth can cope with. So it started off as a process to eliminate plastic bags by making shopping bags out of unwanted fabric, and has evolved since then, or at least in our group, to repurpose as much textiles as we can for any purpose. Repair Cafe The Gap is both groups are part of a worldwide organisation. Repair Cafe The Gap encourages people to repair rather than replace their items. So we have volunteers with a range of repair skills, and they come together once a month and fix things for free. So, and we're again one of many thousands of groups around the world that do that. So, what was the second part? Advice for other people wanting to get involved?
Yes, for anyone starting small sustainable projects.
Yeah, I think the main thing is to not try and do it on your own. Try and find some like-minded people, and reach out to others who have already done it before. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. I think there's plenty of help out there to be found. We're certainly in those two networks, Boomerang Bags and Repair Cafe. They're very supportive of each other. It's quite a good network and very supportive. Yeah.
Fantastic. One more question. So many people want to live more sustainably, especially after seeing the documentary tonight, but they don't know where to start. So what advice would you give to someone who wants to make a small, practical change in their own life or community?
Okay. I think you need to not aim for perfection for a start. Maybe just choose one thing, like shopping bags is something we know something about. A lot of people say they have all these reusable bags, but they forget to take them. So take a minute to think about a system that works for you, thinking about your shopping habits and how you can remember to get your bags from the kitchen, once you unload them, back to the car or your bag so that they can be used again. So and once you've nailed that habit, then work on the next thing, like maybe your kitchen waste. Just pick a thing and think, okay, well, what can I do with this? I don't have my own compost bin. I can collect it and take it to the community gardens, for example. And other ways to start small, I think, is, as we saw on the film, just try to consume less. Try not to buy new. If you need something, think, okay, rather than buying new, how can I get it secondhand? I can look on Marketplace. I can join a Buy Nothing group in my local area. I can go to an op shop or join a tool library, or borrow rather than buy. So you're reducing consumption, because as we can see from the film, consumption is just out of control, and we need to really stop consuming, basically. There are so many resources, things in the world. There's apparently enough clothes in the world for the next 6 generations that we don't need 7,200 new items on your catalogue each day. I think just pick something, find people who can help, who've done it before, and just try and consume less yourself.
Thank you. I know after we saw the documentary, I was talking to my husband about purchasing some outdoor chairs, and then I went out and said, I'm going to go on Marketplace, because I'm sure there's plenty of people trying to sell outdoor chairs. I don't need to buy brand new ones. So it certainly already put that thought into my head. Thank you, Erin. Aidan.
Hello.
Hello. And he said he's not nervous at all. He's quite used to speaking. So let's see how he goes. With our main question for you, what excites you most about community-led biodiversity projects, and how can young people get involved and become stewards of nature?
What excites me the most is the outcomes and the thought of, because I started my group 4 years ago when I was 14 years old. I saw my local park wasn't being cared for very well. There were a lot of invasive weeds, rubbish dumped by the creek, and I thought, you know what, I may as well try and do something about it. So I emailed council, and eventually I was able to lead my own land care group and help plant native plants. And in these 4 years, I've been able to see so many changes, and that's what excites me, is seeing the changes that have occurred as a result, the trees that have grown, the wildlife that's coming back in, the community sentiment as well. People will walk and say, oh, you know, this wasn't here 4 years ago, you know, it looks pretty nice. So that's what excites me. And in terms of young people, I think just finding something you're passionate about, because you're not going to want to do a project like mine if you're not passionate about native plants like I am. So finding your little niche there and going from there, finding different avenues, because there's so many opportunities. So that'd be, yeah.
So Aidan, can you tell us about your current initiatives along Ithaca Creek and the kind of impact you've seen on local biodiversity?
So my current initiative at the moment, so I run the Glen Harding Park Bush Care Group. So we're a council-run bush care group, and what that means is I get to bring together like-minded members of the community to remove invasive weeds and reintroduce native plants. So I'm very picky about the sort of native plants I use. I have done a lot of research, and I really want to try and mirror what was there before colonisation and before all of our forests were wiped out. So, hang on, could you repeat the question? Sorry.
That's okay. The current initiative?
Current initiative. Yep. No worries. So at the moment, current initiative is removing a lot of weed species. So we've gotten rid of most of the weed trees. There are a lot of larger invasive trees that were causing a lot of issues. And I actually had a very unique solution to one of these. There was a big tree. It's called a camphor laurel. It's a tree introduced from Asia. They're very invasive. They form sort of monocultures and replace native forests. And we had one of them, really big one, on my bushcare site. And I always wanted to get rid of it, but also they have even though they're weed trees, they have such an important role for wildlife. So we found this company that keeps the tree intact, keeps the body of the tree intact, but poisons it so it can't actually grow, and then drills wildlife hollows into all the branches. So, you know, it's those sort of innovative solutions that I really like. So we got, as a very recent project, we got this large weed tree transformed into, I think, 20 different hollows for a range of native wildlife. So we've got the trees away, and at the moment it's just really establishing sort of more biodiversity. There's a good native tree cover, but underneath that there's not many native shrubs or grasses or vines, which are crucial for the little small birds that we don't get much of in suburbia. So that's the current project.
That's actually quite impressive, so wow. All right, thank you for that. Fanny, how do you make ecological... Oh, I've gone flat. Wow, that's it. No, here we are. Ecological issues accessible and actionable for communities, and how can individuals contribute locally?
I'm going to, it's working. Yeah. So at People for Nature, we make ecological issues accessible to everyone by educating people. We start with a head, heart, and hand approach. We believe that when people understand, they start caring, and then once they care, they want to take action. And the way we do this is our educational workshops are done in a very fun and engaging way. Some of you participants of AlterCOP since Monday might have experienced some of our workshops where we play card games and we make complex scientific knowledge accessible to everyone in really fun way.
And how do you see citizen science and grassroots initiatives shaping the future of conservation and biodiversity protection in Australia?
I really believe that citizen science and grassroots initiatives are really key to make a shift in biodiversity issues. We've seen over the past years that traditional conservation initiatives works really well. It works, but it's not enough. We need everyone to be able to contribute to conservation, every citizen, and that's what we like to do at People for Nature, is bringing initiative, conservation, citizen conservation initiative that everyone can do from home. Citizen science, it allows everyone to be able to contribute to data, real data that scientists uses, and then can feed back to education and closing the loop. And it's fun. It's really, really fun to understand how our wonderful world and ecosystems work. If some of you haven't been part of any citizen science project, a very easy way to start is with the app iNaturalist. How many of you know about iNaturalist? Yeah, quite a few. That's amazing. If you don't know that app, I really encourage you to download it. It's free, very accessible, and it allows you to identify what you see in the world, species of animals, insects, plants. You don't know what it is, you snap a shot, enter it in the app, and it makes suggestions about what it is. Then your picture is sent to the community of citizen scientists and real citizens that will verify your identification. And once several people have verified the ID, this is then placed as research grade and used for real science. So it's very exciting. Check it out.
Thank you. We'll go on to Darren now. Now, Darren, you get to work with or research turtles.
I do.
That's pretty amazing and quite
a
lovely thing to do. So can you share the biggest challenges in your turtle conservation work and how citizen science helps protect local wildlife?
Okay, so I've become involved in the turtle monitoring of the Bribie Island National Park. Not many people. Who knows that turtles nest on Bribie Island? Anybody? Yeah, a few people. It was kind of a bit of a mystery for a long time, but just in the last few years it's started to become a bit more obvious as more people become active in the monitoring. So it's a feedback loop. So our challenges on Bribie, we have loggerhead turtles, so critically endangered population of South Pacific loggerheads. Our threats, the big ones, the climate change and plastic pollution and all those kinds of things, but the local threats range from pigs, foxes, digging up nests and eating hatchlings as they run down the beach, so introduced feral predators. People on the beach. We have sometimes 1,200 vehicle movements on the stretch of nesting beach every day over the summer nesting period. So when I say every day, not every day of the summer, but on the busy weekends and holiday days.
Are you allowed to block it off at all?
No, we're not. No. So it's we actually have developed some caging for the nests. So if the nest gets laid below the dunes, so on the beach, we'll relocate that nest up into the dunes, and then we cage it with an aluminium cage to keep out predators, and when vehicles drive over them, they're less likely to damage them. So a bit of an extreme thing to have to do in a national park.
Yeah.
If it was a non-national park beach, you'd kind of
You'd understand more.
accept it a bit, but in a national park, they should be.
And I'm really surprised when you said there's like pigs and foxes on Bribie Island.
Yeah.
Like,
thousands of pigs.
shouldn't have built the bridge. No.
No, the bridge, yeah.
So another question for you. Sorry, wrong person. Where am I looking? Here we go. How do you see your photography and citizen science work influencing public awareness and encouraging people to become stewards of nature? Photography work.
Okay. So I've been doing this photography a long time. I started my career in the early 80s. So it's like 40 years.
Don't count.
And so when I started, it was a time where any photo of an endangered species or even a common species was a really valuable thing. It was on a piece of film, there was one of them, and if somebody wanted to look at it, you had to physically show them, print it in a book, send them the book. So photography then, for me, was like that vehicle to get knowledge and understanding about nature and conservation science to people. Over the decades, that has obviously changed a lot. Towards kind of, when was it? Sort of through the 2000s, I started taking people to places to take their own photos and communicate nature through their own photography and their own experiences. But I'll tell you what, as time goes on with Instagram, we started having people coming to swim with whales and take photos of themselves with a whale, not take a picture of the whale. Yes. And so the pandemic came along and there was a bit of a shift for me. It was that chance for a break, to stop taking flights and reassess the reduction in life. You know, all the R's, reduce, reuse, recycle.
Yeah.
Reduction's right, the only really answer for us. And so photography-wise now, I do take more pictures on iNaturalist than I take anywhere else, or for any other purpose. It's incredibly important for us to get as much information into the public realm as we can, and we can do that now really simply with iNaturalist. And so communicating that back to the community is a really important thing for us up on Bribie, is to take all of the community with us on a journey of improving biodiversity, improving ecosystem health, and having some goals for restoration of the environment. You know, it's the decade of restoration at the moment, and we need to get on with it because we're kind of halfway through it, and there's a fair bit more work to be done. So.
Well, thank you for that. And we're now going to open up to the floor. You've heard from our panel. They all have some very fascinating backgrounds and advice that they can offer on what we can do to play our role and make a difference. So does anybody have any questions for any of our panel members?
What's your opinion on jacaranda trees?
Glad you got the big question out of the way there. Jacarandas, I like them. I like to see them in an urban environment. The problem I have is when, especially with these newer estates we're building on the outskirts of town, is when developers are planting them near bushland. So, you know, if you've got a jacaranda in the middle of a new farm, it's not going to do anything because there's no bushland for quite a while. But when you're planting jacarandas out in Logan Reserve, when you've got so much bushland there, and I've seen this firsthand as a bush carer, is they will spread and they do take over. So I think they have a place. You know, as much as I'd like all weed species gone, I think we're past that point with jacarandas, so like they can stay in the inner city. But yeah, there's a limit to them.
Anybody else? I would like to know, Erin, if anybody wanted to actually join your initiative and volunteer, how would they go about doing that?
Well, if you're interested in Repair Cafe, as I said, we were just one group. There's about, I think, 12 to 14 in southeast Queensland, and I've actually got lists of all the contact details here in my folder. So if anyone's interested in that, I can come and see me afterwards and I can give you a list. If you wanted, and we're on the list, so if you want to join ours, you're welcome to do that. Same with Boomerang Bags. Probably the best place to find us is on Facebook, and all our contact details are there. We meet once a week on a Friday morning, so that's not really accessible for some, people who are working, but we seem to attract quite a few people anyway. So, and we're a friendly bunch, and we certainly love to have more people join us. Yep.
Wonderful, thank you. And Francois, if somebody actually wanted to learn, do you give lessons on?
So the thing with the drone are quite easy to fly. So I think it's more the photography and having the just looking, so actively looking at the nature, because the drone itself, honestly, there's no. I mean, the piloting skills, it's all automatic. You will never crash. There's everything is automated now. So I don't give lessons, but I'm happy to take anyone around Brisbane to do some photography outdoors. I think it's really looking, so actively looking. So when you have your drone and your screen, So that's a good thing because it will play either on your phone or just the remote, which is even bigger. Just actively look at what you see and you'll see amazing stuff. So I think one of the one I got in Brisbane, so it's like Wellington Point, so just right there, I had a heart shape. So the first photo you've seen of Yann Arthus Bertrand was the lake in New Caledonia. In Brisbane here, you have a heart shape in the middle of the mangrove. So that kind of stuff. So I won't teach like skills, but just invite people to fly a drone or take the camera and just look and take your time. Take your time to look around now.
Thank you.
No
Darren,
worries.
one for you before we break for our little networking opportunity. If anybody wanted to join the turtle conservation, join you, is there a way that they can join up and volunteer their time?
Well, I'll give you an example. We're part of the Sunshine Coast Turtle Care program, which has got about 250 volunteers, and they monitor little stretches of beach up all the way along the Sunshine Coast, and we do a 30-kilometre stretch of beach, and there's 12 of us, and there's a bit of a queue. As you can imagine, turtles seem to be really
Turtles and little penguins.
yeah. But certainly coming up to Bribie and having a look around and getting an understanding of how important that ecosystem is and how Bribie might end up being kind of the last little bit of green next to the coast in southeast Queensland, the way things are going with development at the moment. That would be a good thing for turtles to help protect the beach.
Do you get a little bit proud have you ever seen like the hatchlings scurry into the ocean?
Not as often as I'd like to, but we can time it, pretty much to the night, but you don't always get it, but it's pretty exciting to see them go off for sure. It's a big journey because for those of you who don't know, loggerheads, they swim for 3 days out into the East Australian current and then drift down the coast and catch a current for 5 years across to South America, another 5 years up the South American coast, and then 5 more years back across the equator to the Western Pacific, where they find a home reef somewhere between New Guinea, New Caledonia, Great Barrier Reef, even Byron Bay or Moreton Bay. They get there when they're about 15, and when they're 30, they'll get sexually mature, and they'll head back to the same sort of place where they were born. So it's a pretty big journey. Only about 1 in 1,000 get to sexual maturity. So that's one adult returning out of 8 to 10 clutches. So it's a numbers game, that one. Yeah. With lots of threats between.
Anyone that's seen Finding Nemo, you probably heard the squirt and all that going, it's the EAC, dude. Yeah. All right, if there's no further, that's it. If there's no further questions, we may now. One more question here. Sorry.
Not so much a question, other than I knew I should have bought tissues for the film. That was amazing. Thank you very much for the panel. This is more of for anyone who does want to get into iNaturalist. I love my little citizen science card. It's from Habitat for Nature. Yeah, Habitat for Nature, if anyone wants to have a look at it. Happy to show you. It just gives you a really good colour reference and size chart. Super handy for double-checking references on photos.
Thank you. That's amazing. Oh, another question up the back there.
Hello. Thanks for the panel, guys. Real good. My question is kind of with the state of kind of how Australia is developing with the whole NIMBY versus YIMBY movement. There's a bit of two coins on, we want the kind of YIMBYism of being able to say, yes, I want this built here, but also being aware that not letting development take precedence over preserving our nature around us. How do you guys kind of reconcile those two ideas of accepting the right development, but it being able to recognize the bad developments? Does that make sense?
Who would like to take that one?
I can take that one. I study urban planning. This is a topic I'm very passionate about. Where I grew up in Ashgrove, Barton, is a very NIMBY sort of area. We're an inner city area, and any sort of medium density development will be shot down. I think in the case of NIMBYism versus YIMBYism, I think there's a bit of a class divide. So I think all of the focus, the media and political focus on development is in the inner city, and we just, we're focused on blocking this and approving that. But I believe that most people are blind to what actually happens in the outer suburbs. So most of the development in southeast Queensland we get happening on those sort of outer suburban corridors because the people there, where I grew up in Ashgrove, demographically people have more time on their hands and they've got more time on their hands and they feel more empowered to lobby government to stop developments. Whereas out in the outer suburbs, cost of living is more of a pressure. People just don't have the time or the political empowerment to feel like they can stop development. So generally, it just goes ahead there. So I take Logan Reserve as an example, where you've basically got hectares of state significant forests that have been bulldozed for wall-to-wall housing, and nobody realises because it's a working class outer suburban area, and development just happens there. No one seems to care. So anyways, I think there needs to be a lot more empowerment of people in those areas to be able to stand up and protect their lifestyles. And we do, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but we do need to get more high-density development in areas like Ashgrove, the Gap and Barton, because it comes at the expense of these people in these outer suburbs where you've got koala habitat and kangaroo habitat just being destroyed, and no one seems to notice. So that's what I think.
Yeah. Well put. Yes, one more question down here. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be sorry.
Thank you. I just thought it might be useful to also for the panel members to perhaps share some of the other joys that people get out of working together in groups like Boomerang Bags or Repair Cafe or even the community action groups. What sort of, because earlier on we were talking about many people will say, what's in it for me? And just wondering whether that's something that would be shared as to the value that these kinds of community action groups bring to individuals as well as to the environment. And maybe Erin, if I may point finger at Erin, she may want to talk about it. Thank you.
I might point out that Padma is my co-founder for both Boomerang Bags and Repair Cafe. So she's put me on the spot.
She's dobbed you in.
Yes, she's dobbed me in, yes. Thanks, Padma. Yes, the community benefit and the well-being benefit, I guess, is a big thing for us that we focus on, particularly at Boomerang Bags. We're predominantly women. We have had a few men join us and sew some bags, but they're few and far between. But it's a really safe space, and we're a great bunch of friends, and we get together each week. And the bags it's not about the bag, is what the original sort of motto of the group was. So it's a lot about community connection. And we find that with Repair Cafe as well. We've got about a dozen repairers from all walks of life. Some are retired, some are uni students, high school students even, primary school students even, who have heard about the movement or heard about us in particular and come to do their bit and feel good and get satisfaction out of helping people. And the vibe at the Repair Cafes is... has anyone ever been to one? Has anyone here been to a Repair Cafe? Yeah. It's an amazing vibe. Everyone, it's buzzing. And we're helping people save money. We're helping people keep things out of landfill, and it's a really positive thing, and I think it does the community good to feel that. So I encourage everyone to find your thing that gives you a good buzz, whether it's land care, bush care, or TGSI, educating the community and trying to get platypuses back in our creeks, and find the thing that gives you a little buzz, and go out and find your tribe.
Very good, thank you. So if there's no further questions, we will finish up now and network out there. If you do have more questions and would like to promote? No. My brain's gone blank. Talk to one of our panel members one-on-one. Approach is the word I was looking for. Approach one of our panel members while we're networking. Please do so. Don't stop the conversation. Keep the questions coming. And please, if that you want to join any of the initiatives that have been discussed tonight or talk about what you can do, please do so. We also have the pledge tree that is out. I'm going to actually change the slide. The pledge tree in the foyer there that you will be able to maybe put down a pledge on what you think you can do for your part. It's going to be shared as part of the initial reports when they're all finalised for AlterCOP 30. So I encourage you to do that. The tree was painted by the lovely Naomi sitting there, who probably won't put her hand up, but she's in the leopard print in case you can't see her. So thank you, Naomi, for your wonderful artwork. And also, if you would like to scan the QR code now, if you have your phone with you, just to give some feedback for the team, so they can use that feedback for future workshops, and also it will also be included in the final report as well, the impact report. I will leave that screen up for a little bit before I go to the next slide. I can see phones clicking. So. Don't worry if you can't get it right now. We will put it back up later for anybody else to come back in and take a screenshot. And also, AlterCOP is back tomorrow. So for the final day, focusing on health and youth, and it's not too late to join. If you don't have tickets, there's still time to register. And of course, you can click those QR codes as well. So we'll leave those ones up for now, and I'll come back and change it later back to the feedback QR code later. So please go out, have a drink, have something to eat and network, and thank you so much for attending and for staying for the questions right now. And thank you again to our panel, if you could give them a round of applause. And that concludes AlterCOP 30 Day 3. Thank you.